that we don't talk about is the thing that binds all these things together, and that is the founder's mind. And today this session is going to talk about the mental well-being, an essential pillar for every founder, talking about that one most important tool that every founder carries and is very important to take forward, and that is the mind of the founder. So taking this entire session forward, I'd like to call the moderator for this session, Ms. Sunita Mohanty, MD, Primus Partners, to please join us here on stage. I'll request you, ma'am, to please join us here on stage. Hello, hi, ma'am. A big warm welcome to you. I'll now request you to please also welcome our speakers one by one as I invite them here on stage. I'd like to welcome Dr. Anita Bhandari, Vertigo and ENT specialist, to please join us here on stage. A big warm welcome, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining. Definitely looking forward to listen more about mental health and how it's a very essential pillar for every founder. So let's have a clap. I mean, every time the speaker comes, the least we can show them our excitement is through the clap and smiles we have on our face. Now, I would like to call Mr. Naren Bakshi, Chairman, Crack and Wellness Code, to please join us here on stage. Welcome, sir. Definitely looking forward to this session. Let's have a clap once again, ladies and gentlemen. Another very interesting session, and I'm sure that each and every person who is a founder here or any space of our life, the one thing that we all in common carry is our mind, and the one thing that we all in common need to learn is to manage it in the best way possible. So now I'd like to hand over the stage to our moderator. Ma'am, if you can welcome our speakers as well. Yeah. A big warm welcome, ma'am. Welcome, sir. And now I'd like to hand over the stage to our moderator and take this discussion forward.
Thank you so much. I hope everybody can hear me. I know it's a fag end of the day, but thank you everyone, and I think my job is to keep you all awake and keep you away from getting back to your home and the comforts of the family. But thank you everyone who's made it a point to come here. I think mental health and wellness is a very pertinent topic, and especially in the context of the stress that we all face today, it is very important that this is not a side conversation but a really important point of discussion today. So with me, I have some amazing speakers. I have had the opportunity to have breakfast with Dr. Anita in the morning, as well as meeting Bakshi ji later today, and I definitely want to speak a little bit about what they have accomplished. So Dr. Anita Bhandari is a Jaipur-based consultant. She's a neuro-otologist with MS and fellowship from Singapore, and she runs a very leading vertigo and ear clinic and serves as a scientific advisor to the Neuroequilibrium, pioneering world's first cloud-based vertigo and balance clinic. Outside of everything I'm reading, I think I've met her in the morning, and I'm so impressed by the work she is doing with her patients, not only just in Jaipur but across the world, by accessing technology to help people with vertigo and neuro-otology issues. So welcome, Dr. Bhandari. And then we have Naren Bakshi ji. He's a global Indian entrepreneur and a living example of healthy, independent and purposeful aging. I don't call him as aged, I call him as young. And we're so glad that he's here. And he had a severe health crisis when he was 68 that triggered a very disciplined lifestyle transformation. And since then, he's become a health hero. He's also a part of the TiE global community and brings in his unique perspective on entrepreneurial resilience, something that all founders today need to hear, and also on how personal wellness, longevity, and sustained enterprise leaderships go hand in hand. So thank you so much for joining us today. Before we begin our discussion, I would like to ground this conversation on why mental and emotional well-being is a very important leadership and enterprise issue. And the reason we were just having conversation, and one thing we said, if you go back to Indian scriptures, mental and physical health, and if you talk about yoga, if you talk about Ayurveda, everything says that mental and physical health cannot be decoupled. They are together, and it's how healthy you are in your mind that determines how healthy you are also in the body. So I'd like to invite Naren ji, who's also the chairman of Crack the Wellness Code Foundation across US and India, to briefly frame on why stress is a real business risk and why every one of you should be having this as the top priority. So Naren ji. So Naren ji has a short 2-slide presentation that he'll try to present.
Can you hear me now? So let me start by telling you why stress is a major important thing that we have to worry about. Number one, in Silicon Valley, we have done lots of surveys. Our community has done wonderful in all dimensions. But when we look at our own community health, number one issue that we now find is unmanaged stress. Now in TiE, all the people that are here will know, what do we say, Rajneesh ji? Think big. What else do we say? Work on your passion as hard as you can, but focus. We also say, please create a lot of wealth, but it should be shared wealth. What else do we say? We also say to people, make sure that if you succeed, you give back. Those are our mantras. Do you all agree? Yes or no? Now, if that's the case, think about my own situation. In year 2000, my company went public. I had all the things you can ever think of. Fame, Fortune magazine, New York Times, everywhere. But inside I was hollow. Why? I had neglected my health. As you go down this, you saw a picture of me before and after. I realized that no amount of wealth would have any value if I am not there to enjoy it. And I will be burdened on everybody else. Yesterday you heard about Kanwal Rekhi. He was on my board. We talked. At the end of the session, we were walking back. I was so pained to hear him say, Naren, 40% of my IIT alumni are dead. Another 40% of them are in bed. The remaining 20% are somewhat active. That's the pain we want to remove. So the idea really that I want to talk to you is we have to work towards healthy aging. That's my goal. Now with this, I would like to tell you what is happening. Why is it so important? Look at the statistics. You can compare India and global. Difference is not that much. What is happening to our founders? They ignore number one thing that heals the body. Sleep, calming it down. What else? they get burned out. And in many cases, the companies have been shut down by VCs because something happened to their founders. What else? If they are still doing it, they screw up their own family and friends. So that's not what we want. That's my way to start the session. With this, yours, please.
Thank you so much for that very powerful reminder. And I know that many of us sitting here would have been shocked at seeing the data, but eventually when all of us go back home, we forget it and our life goes back. So I hope that this is a reminder that this is becoming one of the largest health catastrophe in India, and we really start taking care. So with that, going back to you, Dr. Anita, you are quite a busy doctor. The number of clinics you run globally and the amount of work that you have to do, and we've been speaking a little bit about it. At what point in life did you realize that in a society where being busy is considered great, success is considered great, being out there is and always available is considered great, at what point did you start believing that your mental health, wellness is important, and what are some of the fixes that you did to navigate yourself in that direction?
So thank you. Today I'll be talking about a very different perspective. We always talk about diseases, how do we make them better, but majorly they have been physical diseases, and how do we treat them? And not so much importance or time is spent on talking about the emotional impact of all of this, which is actually so important. So I like to give some of my own examples. So when we started our startup for setting up Vertigo and Dizzy clinics, starting small, of course, starting with 10 clinics, maybe over the years went 200 to 200 and growing beyond. But sometimes those big successes, those big wins did not give you as much happiness as you would have thought it would. When it was a dream to have 100 clinics. Sometimes some meetings you would say that getting a PhD from Netherlands, striving 5 years, 4.5 years to get it, and then finally to achieve it. And sometimes the happiness you thought would have been so great was not so much, because I guess you are often overwhelmed. So what I felt was that breaking it into rather these huge, big goals and trying to celebrate the small successes has made so much more, given me much more joy and happiness. And then when the big numbers are achieved, I think that does then make more sense in the bigger picture of life. Talking about what have I done was, I think my mornings are the most sacred. So making sure that is my time, whether it's my fitness, my yoga, my golf, that is like a sacred time for me, and that is what keeps me sane, because all of us, we're running, but remember, we are human, and make sure that we need to have some boundaries, someone to talk to be able to keep everything in the correct perspective.
No, thank you so much. So 2 things that I'm taking away from what you said. One is that we have to all learn to celebrate small moments, and that's also a good reminder, because a lot of time in corporate you go from, if I get this promotion, I'm going to be happy, and then if I get this deal, I'm going to be happy, and then you recalibrate again to the next promotion, to the next deal. So I think that's a very important reminder that we have to start celebrating small moments. And the second thing is a sacred morning, which is, I think, really sets on how you are going to do the day, how your day is going to run. So thank you so much for that. Moving to you, Mr. Bakshi, you said that at 68 there was a very severe health crisis that became a defining moment for you to look back. Now, what inner realizations mattered more at that point than a medical diagnosis, and how did you reshape your personal discipline and your life?
So in my case, I must say two things. First thing is, I've been coming to Jaipur since 2001-2, Rajneeshji, when we started TiE. For last 24 years, I've been coming here. So every time I came here, I see my father. I see my uncle, Mr. Kala's father. Now, they have been very, very healthy all the time. So they will tell me, Naren, we have given you good genes. It's all your doing. Tappad maar diya. Bad gaya, father ne. On the other side, I tried everything to try to think of losing weight. That was a yo-yo. Weight loss is not your goal. What we have learned is opposite. Our goal should be, I want to become fit. When you are fit, what happens? Weight comes down. What was surprising, why did all my TiE sessions after 2011 were asked me to speak was on health. They started to call me health hero because between 18 months time frame, all my diseases are gone. No more diabetes, no more sleep apnea, no more anything, hiatal hernia, all of them. Sometimes it was colonoscopy was happening, sometimes it was endoscopy was happening. Everything is gone. So since 2011, I've been a healthy person. What does it mean? Now let me come back to Jaipur. We have all heard, Pehlo Sukh, boliye kya hai? Now the big mistake we make, we think of body health. The real answer is, mind comes first, body comes second. Mind controls the body. Now what happens? Who heals the body? When you sleep, when you calm down. So number one thing I learned during this exercise that I went through was I must change my sleep habit. As much possible, disciplined sleep. What else? After that, you have to increase your metabolism. That only happens by activity. It doesn't matter what activity, but you must increase your metabolism. We learned that. Nutrition is important, but what does that mean really? It is not just what you eat. What next? How you eat. What next? When you eat. If you eat same exact food at 7 p.m. versus 11 p.m., it is not the same. We learned that. So all of these things are Eastern philosophies. So the best care we now know from East and West will come from a combination of East and West. West does what? Best, surgical. Best se best, what Anita ji aap kar rahi hain, that is really disease के लिए कुछ करना है, जरूरत है तो करना है. But our focus from East should be, 60 years ago when I went to United States, nobody knew yoga. 40 years ago, nobody understood meditation. 10 years ago, nobody understood fasting. Today, all of these things have been proven scientifically. So please give us your big hand. We are going to have all kinds of things from India going to United States. Give yourself a big hand. We are from this country. But let's not forget, there's a lots of feedback mechanisms, early diagnostics, also need be all kinds of surgeries. Something will happen as you age. Something will happen as you age. It can happen to me. I did have a fall. घर पे कहीं slip हो गए. But because I was in good health, my ribs got corrected very quickly. So these things will happen. We should prepare for it. Anita ji, आप बोल रही थी कि आप सुबह देते हैं time. You can ask my team that are here. My time until 11:30 is for me. I have a teacher because I need help. He comes for 2 hours. I'm with him, whether it's gymnasium, whether it's yoga, whether it's meditation, whatever. So those are the kinds of things that will keep you healthy aging. I hope that was useful. And the last thing I will say is nutrition is important, absolutely important, but make it simple. The best food that anybody has invented is seasonal, organic, plant-based food is the best one. So just remember, as much as possible, remove SOS. Salt, oil and sugar. Reduce. That's it.
Thank you, Bakshi. That's very nice, especially what you spoke about mindful eating, eating healthy, uh, increasing activity and sleeping well. So moving back to you, Dr. Anita, excuse me, you're in this field and you're seeing a lot of patients. And what's the advice you would give to young entrepreneurs? Because you said that your mornings are very sacrosanct in the sense that you would have your golf, you would have your meditation, yoga that you do. But a lot of the young entrepreneurs, founders are very busy because they're busy chasing funds, busy building products. What are small activities, habits that they can incorporate in their lives to really make a huge difference in their health?
So amongst the young entrepreneurs, there's just one thing I need to remind you, taking you back to your body physiology. We often hear people sleeping 2 hours, 5 hours. I think 5 hours is enough for me. Sleeping any time that 5 hours is okay. So just going back to a little bit of neurophysiology is that we have something what we call the circadian rhythm, and after 11 there is the melatonin, which is basically putting the body to rest, which is part of the day and night. And then in the morning after 6 a.m. is the cortisol, the active hormone. So this is how your body is geared to work. Now, over those hours from around 11 to 4 a.m. is where there is the cleaning of the brain. You can say that the toxins are washed out from the brain at that time. And the more we get of that segment, it's better for your brain health as well. And the less you get means that that toxin accumulation starts happening. It is not washed out, and that becomes an area which is prone to inflammation, migraines, headaches, irritability, all that is also brought on. And doing this day after day can result in what we call a chronic fatigue syndrome. That means you start getting lethargic, your energy levels drop, and that becomes more and more difficult to then manage. So it's really, really important to be able to understand these things, be mindful of these things, because this will affect your overall long-term performances.
So on the same note, Dr. Anita, I'm going to ask you a follow-up question. We spoke about the circadian rhythm, we spoke about cortisol, but for many people, when we say go and do a health checkup, they will go and do a CBP, they will go and do a blood pressure check, ECG, and it's done. And we have a lot of youngsters who are having heart attacks now, they're quite active, they're going to the gym, but there is a lot more behind the scene that we don't see, and many of it is driven by our mental health. So is there any checkups that you would advise or anything for them, or how do they even identify that there is stress, cortisol levels are high, they're not sleeping well? What is not good sleep? What kind of tests can they do to find, and the reason I'm asking this question is most of the youngsters are data-based decision makers.
Absolutely. So I think a really important thing that we need to understand is that stress is not a bad thing. The body needs stress. And what do we mean by stress? Stress is challenge. If we don't have any challenges in our life, what are we doing? What are we working for? So stress is a part of everyone's life. It's how we handle it. So knowing how to handle the challenges in life, how your reactions will be, is what is actually the most important thing. So someone who gets flustered by small things, and people who stay calm in even the more serious crisis times, that is what is actually the most important thing. So that is what you can gauge in how you are handling these kind of day-to-day situations, challenging times, difficult times. That itself will give you an interpretation, because these are not measurable or numbers that we have a tick on how much it is. It can be very, very different for different people, but just understanding how are you able to manage these kinds of situations.
No, that's a very good pointer, that we are here for the long run, and it's a marathon and not a sprint, and many of us try to optimize for the short duration. So back to you, Mr. Bakshi. I think from your lived experience and some amazing discoveries that you've had, for all the young entrepreneurs out there, what are the 2 or 3 things that you would advise that they should take back?
So first of all, there are opportunities now to get some help. We have established Crack the Wellness organization in India, headquarters in Jaipur. We also have CWC Global. So we are able to communicate benefit just like TiE does, best from there, best from here. So first thing is, help is available. Now, Anita, she said right, you have to manage stress. But it is also true that in some cases, you may need some help from a psychologist. There is absolutely nothing wrong to be able to seek help when you reach that point. I know of Gopi Kalyal, who was one of the topmost Google employees. He was running around everywhere, and suddenly one day, he just dropped. It took him time, got some help, and recovered. He's back. So one thing we must please do is remove the stigma. There's too much of a stigma of seeking help. Now, help does not mean only from psychologists. What does it mean? Why do we have friends and family? If you ignore friends and family, you're going to be declining. Socialization is most important. Loneliness is the problem. That is why one of the things I'm hoping to do starting Jaipur. आपसे भी मिलने आऊँगा, Mr. Durlab ji. So we want to create a situation in India, starting in Jaipur, whereby people are also living alone, which is fine, they are at home, but there must be an opportunity for them to socialize and be able to contribute. Now those are the opportunities that today do not exist. In Silicon Valley, for example, you're talking about lived experience. For 25 years, we have a senior day care program. I know Durlab ji, you have tried to do it and we want to work with you to make it better. So the important thing is we want to live and hopefully die at home. We do not want, how many of us really want to die in the ICU? Is there anybody here that would like to see death in the ICU? When you are alone, most painful thing. So we don't want that. So what do we want? Make sure you do not become lonely. Friends, family can be a big help because of what? Not keeping you lonely, right? That's an important aspect. The second thing I must tell you is making sure that you even understand that even disease like cancer has been now proven can be caused by unmanaged stress, emotional problems. आप पूछ रही थी, young age में भी हो रहा है. In Silicon Valley today, the number one issue is not anymore metabolic health problem or chronic diabetes problem. Number one today in Silicon Valley, Indian community is cancer. We have done a lot of research. There is a program we are launching to reduce that problem. So my request to you is seek help, remove the stigma on mental health. There could be, in some cases, need for a psychiatrist. If somebody in your family has that need, please do not hide. Get him the help. This is where we have too much stigma of mental health. That's why we purposefully called this session mental health. Not just body health, but mental health. So I don't know how many of you visited our booths. Did anybody visit the booth? So we have now figured out certain exercises, certain things you can do to even reduce the chances of what? Alzheimer. All kinds of things can be reduced. So please be open to those things and benefit from this. I hope that was helpful.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bakshi. And I think everyone who has access to Netflix should go and watch this Live to 100, Secrets of a Blue Zone. And Mr. Bakshi has in very short and succinct way told what the entire documentary is about. So before we end the program, and I know all of you are looking forward to getting back home and hopefully going back and prioritizing your mental health, your seeking counselor when needed, I'm going to ask my speakers here for one last piece of advice, something that you'd like to say to this crowd. Dr. Anita, anything from you?
So I would say that community is the biggest resource, and leveraging, having someone who you can talk to. So the founders, TiE is such an open organization that everyone is so willing to help each other if they can do it themselves, or they will find someone who is there to help you. Take advantage of this community, of other founders who you can talk to, or anyone else, because having a sounding board is actually sometimes the best way to solve the most difficult and the easiest problems.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And that's a really, really good piece of advice. Mr. Bakshi, anything from you?
So I would like to reverse, please. I would like, there are a number of you who should ask a question so we can discuss that. Mr. Durlabji, and yourself, sir. Can you give mic to please? Because I would love to see your thoughts at the same time. If there is any discussion we can have, that would be more useful. Rajneesh, you or Jitendra, you or yourself, sir. Please give your mic.
See, what we need to learn is what our grandfathers or great-grandfathers used to live. Live healthy, eat healthy food, and live a disciplined life. See, if you open an iPhone, and if you go into the alarm section, there is a wake up and sleeping alarm, and it monitors your sleep. So it's important that we discipline ourselves. We don't live like from a pole to pole as people live today.
Piche, they are asking. He has a comment to make.
Thank you, Bakshi ji. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपको.
आपका शुभ नाम?
My name Harish Kumar from the CSTV Access to Energy. आपने जो एनर्जी की बात कही बहुत बढ़िया बात है. जो per capita energy consumption of the body is the lowest is in India. Body require clean air, clean water, clean shelter, clean food. जब उसको clean nutrition नहीं मिलेगा तो how to increase the energy level of your body?
Yes.
And energy level body increase the energy level of the mind. The question is in the AI sector, how AI sector is useful, make a ecological footprint is lower, where is a industrial state, where is a city, where is a community, where is an NGO or media or any person, any city, how to increase the AI application for ecological footprint increase.
One back.
I think, sir, thank you so much. I was supposed to go, but I stayed for this session, and this is the best session I've had because I'm a sleep coach, and I heard your journey, when you said that you started working on your mental wellness, and the first point that you said was about sleep. And I'm very glad to share that I echo your thoughts because when people attend my sleep coaching program, they are actually able to reverse hypertension, diabetes, and all kinds of lifestyle diseases. So sleep itself is a pharmacy that most of us ignore. In fact, God made a 24-hour day, of which 1/3 is sleep, but we actually don't want it. We chase for the 2/3 of life, the rest of the things, but not sleep. So thank you so much.
So let me tell you one thing. We learned from Stanford, you cannot force yourself to sleep. You cannot force. But you can do the opposite. What is the opposite? That's what I learned. The opposite is you say to yourself, no matter what, you decide a time, I'm going to get up. I'm going to get up. अपनी वाइफ को बोल दो पानी गिरा दे मेरे ऊपर उठना है. After 14 days, 2 to 3 weeks, everything changes. So what I'm saying is having a sleep coach is not a problem. This is a help. By the way, I got help from Dr. Shamdas, a physicist. He used to come to my home 3 times a week, at least, to give me a push. Helped. So asking for help is not a bad thing, including sleep coaching. Anybody else? Anilji, any thoughts? I know you have been very active, improving your health. Any thoughts? Any 1 or 2 more questions, then we want to end. Please. because it's audience that matters. If it is useful to you, it's worthwhile. अपना नाम बताइए. Please introduce yourself.
Namaskar, sir. This is Abhishek Tiwari, and we run and operate chain of fitness centers called PowerFit. With this platform, I would probably would like you to emphasize on centers like gyms and gymnasiums, and how centers like this. When we talk about health, we only talk about medical, but when we talk about a holistic way of health, centers like gymnasium, yoga centers, they work in a very good fashion to have a preventive healthcare setup, and they do a very good chunk of work. And after going through more than 20,000 clients in last 8 years, we have seen that but most of those clients can get better health by a lifestyle intervention. So I would like you to emphasize on how these can get into a mainstream preventive healthcare system.
So the point that he's making is very, very good. So there was a time in our grandfather's time, people got lot of activity. They were walking or bicycling, nothing else. So activity was there. Today that may not be the case. So we may need some help through something or the other. I live at Jewel of India. There is a gymnasium downstairs. I go down. So there's nothing wrong in using these facilities if that's what you need. There may be some others, they can do themselves. Now, yoga alone doesn't do it. Yoga gives you flexibility. What do we need to do? Kanwal was talking last night. Then the only thing I need to do now is to increase my muscle power so that I don't fall down. So he's saying he gets somebody to come home and pushes him his strength. That's okay. So it may be bicycling, it may be a gym, it may be yoga centers, whatever. You have to figure out the combination of activity that is good for you and that you can do. So I know Mr. S.N. Agarwal, who is a brother of Ashokji Agarwal. He was my alumni. I went to Bangalore and saw his home. His home is completely ready, equipped for him to live healthily. He has capacity, so he has a swimming pool, he has everything, right? So just to make it personal, I made a very big decision last year. Let me share honestly. I used to live in a very big apartment, home. Swimming pool, everything, right? But I realized that time has come for me to change that. Why? Let me tell you a painful thing, but it's important so that you know, because in India that is a problem. What happens is, if something were ever to happen, that I die first compared to my wife Kusum, I know she would have a very hard time living in that big giant home even for 1 week. So the idea is, if I care about my wife, what should I do? I should think ahead, that because we know women live longer, right? So 5-10 years of widowship is there. So if you don't prepare and give them help, it is not your children. It is not your children who will become anath. Kaun banega anath? It will be my wife. Here what happens? Because of whatever stigma of selling your big ancestral property, people don't do it. They continue to live in a place that is not safe. That is not safe in the sense of having pakad ke utne ka jagah, whatever. So I went and got into a condominium just like Jewel of India, where in the same floor my daughter lives. Life has become simple. So what I'm saying is, please think ahead. Your job is to become living up to last day healthy and take care of your family. That's my last comment. I hope it has been helpful, and I hope I didn't say anything that anybody got offended. But please come and see us. If you can join our movement in some way with CWC, we'll welcome it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bakshi ji, and thank you, Dr. Anita. I think this was a really, really good conversation, and I'm glad that TiE decided to make mental health and wellness a priority in a conversation that's full of AI and entrepreneurship. So thank you so much, both of you, and thank you, TiE.
Give a hand to Anita ji. She brought a lot of knowledge. Give her a big hand, please.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, sir, for such an insightful session. I'll request the moderator to give a small token of thanks to our speakers for, sharing such a wonderful knowledge. I think mental health is something that we all keep talking about, but to understand that your body health starts with your mind and your mind starts with your body, that's a very deep realization. Really loved the deep insights that we got from this session, and I'm sure that it's going to add value to our life. And from tomorrow, we're going to add some additional steps in our life to ensure that we are not reducing weight or adding weight, but we are becoming fitter in life. Thank you so much once again, everybody. Let's have a huge round of applause for them. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. It's now time that we move on to the last session of the day. So I'll request you all to please be seated, because this is something that is definitely the talk of the town. Everybody wants to talk about it. These days, content creation has become important, whether you're a brand or you're a personality. To reach out to the people and to let them know what you think is very important. And this is where we are going to talk about content creation and how influencing or creating a market of people who really trust you based on your product or based on your personality has become so important. For this, first of all, I'd like to invite on stage our speakers for the day. I would like to invite on stage Jaspal Rathorji, the content creator and host of Learn with Jaspal podcast that has 5 million followers on YouTube and 1 million on Instagram. So a big warm welcome, sir. Another I'd like to call Mr. Yash Pratap Singh, business startup and finance. He talks about business startup and finance. He has about 2 million followers on YouTube. So a big warm welcome. Let's have a huge round of applause for him. And now I would like to invite on stage Mr. Deepak Jain, co-founder of Loco AI, building future for movie making cinematography with AI. So a big warm welcome to all our speakers here. We are expecting one more speaker to join in a minute, but along with that, now is the time that I also call on stage the person who would be bringing this entire session together. So please help me welcome Mr. Janak, who is the founder of Influex. A big warm welcome, sir.